Welcome to our podcast. Why people don't respect you. Welcome to today's podcast. Why don't people respect you? It's a painful question, but if you're asking it, you probably already feel the answer. Something's off. You walk into a room and people barely notice. You speak and somehow your words don't land. You give, but no one seems to give back. It's frustrating, isn't it? Like you're stuck in this invisible bubble where no matter how much effort you put in, the world just shrugs and moves on. And deep down you wonder, what's wrong with me? First, let's clear one thing up. Respect isn't something people owe you just because you exist. It's something you command. And that's the key word. Command, not demand. You can't force people to respect you. You can't guilt trip them into it. And the more you try to chase it, the more it slips through your fingers. Respect is an unspoken agreement. It's what people give when they recognize strength, self-assurance, and value. If you're not getting it, something in that equation is missing. Think about the people you naturally respect. What do they have? Power? Confidence? Integrity? Maybe they carry themselves in a way that makes you take them seriously. Maybe they have a presence, a way of speaking, a certain energy that makes you stop and listen. They don't beg for respect. They don't whine about how people treat them unfairly. They just are. So what's stopping you from being that person? It could be 100 little things you're doing without even realizing it. Maybe you apologize too much. Not just when you've actually done something wrong, but for existing, for taking up space, for having an opinion. You say sorry, but before every sentence. You shrink yourself in conversations, let others interrupt you, laugh nervously when you're not even amused. You think being agreeable will make people like you, but it only makes them overlook you. Or maybe it's how you carry yourself, your posture, your tone, the way you hesitate when you speak. People read body language faster than they process words. If you don't believe in what you're saying, why should they? If you walk into a room with slouched shoulders, a timid voice, eyes darting around for approval, you're telling the world, I'm not worth paying attention to. And the world listens. Then there's the way you set boundaries, or don't. If you let people walk all over you, they will. If you say yes to everything because you're scared of conflict, you become a doormat. If you tolerate disrespect because you don't want to make a scene, you train people to keep crossing the line. And let's talk about value. Do you bring something to the table? Not just friendliness, not just kindness, but something that makes people think, I need to keep this person around. Are you someone people can learn from? Someone who adds depth to conversations? Someone who challenges them in a way that makes them grow? Or are you just trying to fit in? Trying to be whatever you think will make people like you? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't respect desperation. They respect certainty. Not arrogance, not loudness, but quiet, steady certainty. The kind that doesn't need validation. The kind that says, I know who I am, and I don't need you to tell me my worth. That's what makes people listen. That's what makes them remember your name. And maybe right now you're thinking, but that's not me. I don't have that kind of presence. I'm not naturally confident. So what? Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you speak up instead of staying silent. Every time you hold your ground instead of backing down. Every time you carry yourself like you matter, you get stronger. It's a muscle. Train it. Start small. Fix your posture. Speak 10% louder than you think you should. Cut out weak words like, I think, maybe, just. Stop explaining yourself when you don't have to. Say no without justifying it. Watch how people start reacting to you differently. And one day, you'll notice something. The world treats you with the same level of respect you treat yourself. So if you're tired of being overlooked, if you're done with feeling invisible, the first step isn't getting others to change. It's you. Most people think respect is about being liked. It's not. Plenty of well-liked people are not respected. They're fun to be around, easygoing, maybe even admired in a casual way. But when it comes to real decisions, to influence, to power, no one turns to them. They're entertainment, not authority. And if you're stuck in that space, wondering why people enjoy your presence, but never take you seriously, you have to ask yourself, am I giving them any reason to? Because respect isn't just about how you act. It's about what you represent. What do you stand for? What do you believe in so strongly that you won't bend? Won't waver, won't compromise just to keep the peace? If people sense that you will change your opinions, your values, or even your personality just to be accepted, they won't respect you. They might like you. They might even enjoy your company, but they won't look up to you. And here's the thing about people. They test you, consciously or not. They push, they poke, they see what they can get away with. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's subtle, like interrupting you mid-sentence to see if you'll push back. Sometimes it's more obvious, like making a joke at your expense to see if you'll laugh along or shut it down. These tiny moments shape how people see you. If you let it slide once, they'll do it again. If you stay quiet, they'll assume you don't mind. And before you know it, you're the person no one listens to, the one everyone dismisses, because you trained them to treat you that way. Respect is also about depth, not how much you talk, not how loudly you speak, but whether your words carry weight. People who command respect don't just fill silence with empty chatter. They don't talk just to be heard. When they speak, there's substance. And because they don't waste words, people pay attention when they do speak. So if you're the kind of person who jumps into every conversation, who always has to share your opinion, who constantly explains and over-explains, ask yourself, is it because you truly have something meaningful to say? Or because you're afraid of being forgotten? Because real presence isn't about saying more. It's about saying what matters. Then there's the matter of self-respect. You can't expect people to respect you if you don't respect yourself. How do you treat yourself when no one's watching? Do you set high standards for your life? Or do you settle? Do you invest in your growth, or do you just coast? Do you take care of your body, your mind, your skills, or do you neglect them and hope people won't notice? Because they do notice, maybe not consciously, maybe not in obvious ways. But people can tell when someone carries themselves with a sense of dignity. It's in the way you dress, the way you move, the way you react to setbacks. A person with self-respect doesn't complain about their circumstances. They change them. They don't blame others for their failures. They learn from them. They don't beg for opportunities. They create them. And when you live that way, people don't just respect you. They admire you. But respect also comes from restraint, from knowing when to walk away, when to disengage, when to let silence do the talking. Weak people over-explain, over-apologize, overreact. Strong people know that sometimes the most powerful response is none at all. You don't need to argue with every criticism. Prove yourself to every doubter, fight every battle. If someone disrespects you and you make a spectacle out of defending yourself, you've already lost. Real strength is knowing when something isn't worth your energy. And finally, respect is about time. Not just how you spend it, but who you give it to. If you give your time away too easily, to people who don't value it, to relationships that drain you, to meaningless distractions, you send a message. My time isn't worth much. But when you treat your time like it matters, when you guard it, when you use it wisely, people take notice. Because in the end, the world will only respect you as much as you respect yourself. Thanks for your time. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. Also, feel free to share your thoughts or any questions you have in the comments below.